My nan's 92, and I went to see her, and she said, "Oh, you're looking lovely." And she went, "I'm blind now." I was like,
now,
I was like, "Oh, bless you." No, but I'm very lucky. I've got a lovely. I haven't got my grandmother, my other grandmother anymore. I haven't got my grandfather, so I've got one from each side. I've got a grandfather and and they're fantastic and lovely. And I find it quite. It's a horrible thing to say, you know, if you don't have contact with your grandparents, it's going to affect you. Yes. You know, my mum's dead, so my daughter has not got a grandmother, but yet she's got her grandmother on the other side, and she sees her a lot, and it's great. If you've got lovely grandparents, it's great. But like you say, when you say,
is it essential? It's not essential.
No, I don't think it's essential. It's not essential to stay married. It's not essential to do anything. You do whatever is right for your child. If, like you say, you've got a drunk or violent or anything like that grandparent, of course you've got the right to say, well, I'm sorry.
What if you just don't like them? Not everybody has a great relationship with their parents. No. Okay? I'm even aware of sisters where one sister loves mum and dad, the other one doesn't. The other one doesn't want mum and dad interfering with her kids. Why? I don't understand why grandparents should have any legal right to contact with grandchildren at all.
It's a really difficult one, isn't it? Because
for me, I'm single parent. I've got great mum, thank God for my mum. You know, one thing they're going to have to remember out there, grandparents are great for babysitting. My mum, South London.
I was thinking we could like...
But I do believe that as time has gone on and Chelsea's got older and older, she's 13 now, and she can totally make her own decision of when she wants to go and see Dad, when she wants to go and see Nan, and I think that's
because you allow her. Now, if you had problems with your mum...
No, but then I don't think that parents should leave it down to them. I think they should let their child make their own decisions when they're old enough.
Now, what if the child is too young to make their own decision, but your parents, your mum, wants contact, and you're standing in the way, you might have fallen out? Why should your wishes as your daughter's mother be overridden by the wishes of some grandparent?
Because you're the parent and you're always going to be there to protect. And I don't believe that if you feel that's protecting your child, then until that child's old enough, I don't think that you should. Let's say
happily married couple, they fall out in a most bitter way. Okay, the old man disappears, dad disappears, starts to have no contact with the children for all kinds of reasons. But his parents want to maintain contact, and while they're there maintaining contact, lay down all the poison against mum. I mean, there's so many scenarios.
But there are systems that you can go and have, you know, what's it called? Secure visitation.
Yeah. Right. And so you'd still have the courts would still have a part to play, and that remains the case even under these revised rules. Dave, do you think Ed Balls is onto something here? Is this what the country wants and needs?
I'll point out that we started debating whether or not grandparents should have a legal right to see their kids about 20 seconds after you said to Lisa, "I could be your granddad," which is slightly awkward and uncomfortable for me.
And you imagine what it's like for Lisa.
Yeah. It's that thing where, obviously, we're all talking about how nice our grandparents were and how good relationships we have. And obviously...
I wasn't.
OK, we were.
OK.
And so you're always imagining, well, of course, it would be lovely to have that nice relationship with your grandparents. But obviously, if it's going to come down to any kind of law saying they have an automatic right, that's only ever going to be invoked in a situation where the parents are not getting on with the grandparents. So that's the only situation.
I don't understand why grandparents should have any legal right to contact at all.
I kind of agree with you. There's one case I know of where it was a couple had split up. In fact, one person had died, and the grandparents on their side of the family found it very hard to get access to their grandchild because the family just sort of drifted apart. They didn't stay in touch with their in-laws after their partner had passed away. And that's, I feel really sad for it, but putting a law in place that gives them guaranteed access, the other repercussions of that in other situations, I think, are probably more damaging.
OK, I'm told that the phones and email is red hot with this, so let's find out what your thoughts are. Maybe you feel that we should actually be removing grandparents' rights to contact full stop. Kirsty.
First, we have Lorraine on line 1.
Lorraine, good morning.
Good morning, Matthew.
So what's your perspective on this?
Well, I have 3 grandchildren, and my daughter-in-law took an instant dislike to me the moment the first 2 children, who are twins, were born. That was 8 years ago.
Right.
The children don't know me. There's now another little girl, aged 2. I haven't seen her since she was born. There's so much animosity, and it's not a divorce situation. You know, in the papers and on the television, they always speak about divorce, separation, but that's not really the case.
Your son is still with the mother?
Yes, he is.
So what is your son doing, if anything, to make good the situation?
Well, he wants me to write letters, to apologise, put out an olive branch. We've already been through mediation,
Right.
but it does seem that whatever I can do, my daughter-in-law does not like me, does not want me. And when I mentioned going to court to my son, he absolutely hit the roof. He doesn't want me to do that. In fact, I run a support group here in Solihull, and I speak to many grandparents who are in similar situations.
Okay, Lorraine, what is it that you have to apologise for?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think for being alive, I don't really know what I have to apologise for. She just doesn't like me and she doesn't want me, but he's just looking for some way to reunite this family.
You see, because, I mean, this law, or the change to the law, isn't going to actually make any difference to you at all. I just wonder whether you feel, in principle, that grandparents should have a legal right to contact with their grandchildren.
Absolutely and definitely.
Why? They're not your children. What has it got to do with you?
Well, I always learnt respect when I was a youngster. I adored my grandparents. I think grandparents have a lot to offer. Why bring up a child with only half a family?
It's a very fair question. It's a very fair question, Lorraine, and I think your pain, I think everybody can feel that and empathise with it. Thank you very much for the call. Speak to your son, Lorraine. Get him to sort it out. Let's have another one.
We have Laura on 3.
Laura, good morning.
Good morning.
And your take on this?
Well, the caller before, I feel extremely sorry for her. I really do. I know that goes on a lot, but I'm actually a mother who has had to deal with a really difficult paternal grandmother.
Right.
And she's bullied me, practically bullied me for the whole of my daughter's life. And I just, something like this coming into play would really, I think, would be quite destructive. So
Ed Balls' plan to make it easier for grandparents to get contact with grandkids, even if mum or dad object, it obviously doesn't agree with you. Do you think...
Yeah, don't get me wrong, I can see both sides of the story.
Sure, me too.
It's terrible. It's a difficult decision to make, but people generalise so much.
I'm just interested, because I'm extremely sympathetic to your view. I'm just interested in whether or not you believe that grandparents in general should have any kind of legal right to see their grandchildren, or whether the grandparents are no closer, have no better relationship with, or are no more important to these grandchildren as Fred the Milkman round the corner.
For me, I have 2 children. One is by my ex-partner, and I'm married now with my second daughter. And I just feel that even though my first daughter's grandma is like that towards me, she still sees her on a regular basis, because I feel that that's my children's history. Right. It's just important for them to know where they come from, but, she doesn't recognise that. So I think, it's difficult, isn't it? But
it certainly is. You can choose your friends, you can't choose your family.